A poor girl is working under a ruthless manager to save her mother, but little does she know, she's about to uncover a truth about herself that will change her life forever. A dangerous secret, hidden deep within her memories, is about to be unleashed. Can she control the power she never knew she had? Will she escape the forces hunting her down? To uncover the thrilling mystery, you'll have to watch until the very end. Will Rhea change her fate, or is it already sealed? Find out now. Rain lashed against the glass as Rhea stepped into the grand lobby. Her shoes, soaked and squeaking, echoed against the marble floor. Chandeliers above flickered, throwing golden reflections on the walls. She tightened her grip on her old canvas bag. Inside, a crumpled prescription. Her mother's only hope. The receptionist barely glanced at her. 5th floor. Mr. Karen is waiting. The elevator was slow, groaning upward like it resented the climb. Her stomach twisted with every floor it passed. By the time the doors slid open, her palms were damp. The office was cold, not just from the air conditioning. The walls were silver gray. Terrell. The windows stretched from floor to ceiling, revealing a stormy sky. Karen looked up from his sleek glass desk. His stare was sharp like broken ice. You are late. Rhea opened her mouth to explain. He raised a hand. I do not want your story. You work now. Or walk out. Her cheeks burned. But she nodded. For her mother. He led her into a private lounge, immaculate and scentless. Not a paper out of place. Clean this. Polish everything. Then file these. A mountain of folders waited beside an untouched espresso. Her fingers ached as she began, each paper a blur of foreign contracts. Hours passed. Her back screamed. Karen never left. He watched, expressionless, judging every movement. Suddenly the door creaked. A gust of wind swirled in as a tall man entered. His presence shifted the air. His suit was dark blue, perfectly cut. But it was his eyes that stopped everything. Searching. He looked at Rhea. Not past her. Not through her. Her. Karen stood up fast, too fast. Sir. I was just. The man raised an eyebrow. He stepped closer to Rhea. What is your name? Her lips parted but no sound came. He smiled slightly. Toughly. Like a wave pulling back before a storm. I am Vihan. His gaze moved to her hands. Red from scrubbing. Trembling. He turned to Karen. His voice low. Cold. What is she doing here? Karen stammered. She needed work. I was testing her. Vihan's face did not move. But the silence became heavy. Like the moment before glass shatters. He looked back at Rhea. You are not a cleaner. She stared confused. Heart pounding. He stepped closer. You are something else. Suddenly the lights flickered. The building groaned deep and low. As if waking from a nightmare. A painting slipped from the wall. Crashed to the floor. And behind it, hidden safe. Half open. Rhea froze. Karen went pale. Vihan did not blink. What is that? Karen took a step back. His collar was damp with sweat now. That is nothing. Just old files. Vihan moved past him without a word. He knelt by the exposed safe. Rhea could hear his breath. Steady, controlled. He reached inside. Pulled out a thick envelope. Unmarked. He opened it. His eyes narrowed. Rhea could not see what was inside, but the air felt colder. Like the storm outside had slipped into the room. He turned the envelope toward Karen. What is this doing in your office? Karen's voice cracked. I do not know. Must have been moved from finance. I swear. Vihan stood. Slowly. Deliberately. The kind of movement that made Rhea hold her breath. I trusted you. Karen looked like a man unraveling. Sir, please. It is not what it looks like. Vihan looked at Rhea again. His tone changed. Gentler. Did you know about this? She shook her head. Her voice finally came. No. I just came for work. For money. My mother is sick. Vihan's expression shifted. Something deeper flickered behind his eyes. Not pity. Something older. Personal. He took her hand. His touch was warm, steady. You should not be here. Karen laughed, but it was hollow. She begged for a job. You think she is innocent. Vihan's eyes snapped back to him. You lied. You used her. Then he turned to the wall. Pressed a button hidden behind the curtain. Panel opened. Security footage. Rhea's image filled the screen. Cleaning. Stacking papers. Karen's voice in the background. Dark. Cruel. And then, another clip. Karen opening the safe. Stuffing the envelope inside. Vihan said nothing. Rhea's knees felt weak. The truth flickered in the air like lightning. Karen's arrogance drained from his face. He reached out. Please. Vihan. I was desperate. Vihan stepped back. Disgust etched in every line of his jaw. You will leave now. Karen froze. But, my position. Gone. The word dropped like a blade. Rhea stood motionless. Sure. Vihan looked at her once more. His voice softer. I am sorry you were dragged into this. Her throat tightened. Tears pressed behind her eyes. I just need enough to buy her medicine. Vihan nodded once. Firm. You will not have to worry about that anymore. Not silence. Just the weight of everything shifting. Sound. A soft, deliberate click behind them. Rhea turned. And saw the gun. The barrel gleamed under the pale ceiling lights. Karen held it. His hand shook, but his eyes, wild, cornered, held steady. You do not get to decide, he hissed. Vihan moved slightly, shielding Rhea without thinking. Karen. This is not the way. You ruined me, Karen growled. She ruined me. Rhea's breath caught. Her legs locked. Her body screamed to move, but she stood frozen. Vihan's voice dropped low, even. You hid stolen files. You lied. You hurt her. Karen's hand twitched. His finger brushed the trigger. Rhea felt the room stretch. Time slowed. Every sound sharpened. The hum of the lights. The soft drip from her wet hair. The distant storm pounding against the windows. She saw Vihan's hand edge toward a nearby vase. Karen noticed. Do not. His voice cracked like glass. Do not move. Rhea's mind raced. Her eyes darted to the cord behind the desk. The alarm. Just steps away. Too far. Too close. The gun shifted slightly toward Vihan. And Rhea moved. West. Unthinking. Driven by something fierce. She shoved the desk hard. It slammed against Karen's legs. He fired. The blast roared. Vihan fell. Rhea screamed. Karen stumbled back, stunned. The gun slipped from his hand. Clattered across the floor. Rhea dove to Vihan. Blood. Warm. Sticky. But his eyes were open. Breathing. Shoulder, he whispered. I am fine. Rhea sobbed. Relief flooded her like a wave. Security burst in. Red lights flashed. Karen tried to run. They took him down fast. Rhea could barely hear over the rushing in her ears. But she felt Vihan's hand. Still holding hers. Still strong. Still there, paramedics swarmed in. Bright uniforms. Urgent voices. Gloves snapped. They lifted Vihan gently. He winced but did not let go of her hand. Rhea walked beside the stretcher, heart pounding like a drum. The hallway blurred around her. White walls. Blinking lights. Shadows of people rushing by. Everything felt far away. Except him. Vihan's gaze never left her. Even as they wheeled him into the elevator. Come with me, he said. His voice was soft. Frayed at the edges. She hesitated. I should call the hospital. My mother. He reached for her again. You will. But first stay. Rhea nodded. Once. Inside the ambulance, she sat near his head. Watched his face as the siren howled. I thought you would die, she whispered. He smiled through the pain. I thought I might. Then silence. Not empty. Full. Thick with things neither of them knew how to say yet. The city lights passed in streaks. Raindrops chased each other down the windows. Finally the ambulance stopped. Bright white lights spilled across the pavement. As the doors opened, Vihan gripped her hand again. Rhea. She leaned closer. I will fix this. All of it. You already did, she said. But Vihan's eyes darkened. No, there is more. There is something else. The way he said it made her skin prickle. She followed as they wheeled him inside. Through a long hallway. Into a room. A nurse cleaned the wound. Doctors muttered in low voices. Vihan gestured her closer once more. And when she leaned in, he whispered a name. One she had never heard before. But the way he said it, careful, terrified, made her blood run cold. Find out who he is, Vihan said. Before he finds you. Rhea stepped back. Her breath caught in her throat. The name echoed in her mind. Strange, foreign. But Vihan's eyes told her it mattered. More than anything. Who is he? She asked, voice barely a whisper. Vihan closed his eyes for a moment. Long enough for fear to bloom in her chest. When he opened them, they shimmered with something between fear and fury. He is the reason this started. He is the one Karen was working for. Rhea's stomach twisted. You mean, there is someone above Karen? Vihan nodded once. Low, heavy. He wanted the company. Quietly. From within. And you. I got in the way. The door creaked open. A nurse peeked in. Just a few more minutes. Rhea gave a nod, eyes never leaving his. Why would he come after me? Vihan's jaw clenched. Because you are with me now. Because you saw too much. She stepped closer, voice trembling. You said I would not have to worry. And you won't, he said quickly. I will protect you. But you must trust me. Rhea felt the weight of every word. Every choice that had led to this room. To this moment. She thought of her mother. Of her small apartment. The leaking ceiling. The unopened pills on the counter. Now. This hidden war. She swallowed hard. What do I do now? Vihan looked at her like he already knew her answer. You go back. Normal. Wait for my message. And if he finds me first. A shadow passed through Vihan's gaze. Then run. Rhea nodded slowly. Her hands trembled, but her spine straightened. He turned to go, but paused at the door. Look back. He was watching her. Still bleeding. Still strong. And somehow, still smiling. She stepped into the hall. The scent of antiseptic filled her lungs. Floors gleamed under harsh white light. But somewhere deeper, in the basement of that hospital, a pair of dark eyes watched the camera feed. And a voice whispered into a phone. She has no idea who she is. The voice on the phone was low, controlled, laced with something colder than hate. Keep it that way, it said. Static crackled faintly. Until I say otherwise. Soft click. Silence. In the dark room, screens glowed. One showed Rhea exiting the hospital. Another zoomed on Vihan's bed. Machines beeped steadily beside him. The figure in the shadows leaned forward. Light revealed part of a face. A scar, thin and silver, ran down the left cheek. Unblinking eyes scanned every pixel. She is waking up, he muttered to himself. Soon she will remember. Outside, Rhea stood beneath the night sky. The storm had passed, but the air still felt heavy, as if the world held its breath. She wrapped her arms around herself, eyes searching the shadows between parked cars. A sudden breeze swept through the lot. It carried a scent she could not place. Crisp, metallic, like old blood on cold steel. She turned sharply. Nothing. Only her reflection in the hospital glass. But for a second, it looked wrong. Like her eyes in the glass were not hers. She blinked. Stepped back. Her phone buzzed. Message. Unknown number. Go home. Lock the doors. No one answers but me. V****. Her heart jumped. He typed back. Is he watching me? 3 dots. Rhea's fingers trembled around the phone. She slipped it into her pocket and moved. West. Every footstep echoed louder than it should have. The parking lot stretched ahead, empty and far too quiet. She reached her bus stop just as headlights cut through the dark. The driver gave her a tired nod. She climbed aboard and sat at the very back, pressed against the window, eyes scanning every face. Just 3 other passengers. An old woman humming softly, a boy with headphones, head bobbing to a silent rhythm, and a man in a gray coat, reading nothing, just holding a newspaper, upside down. Her breath caught. She looked away, heart hammering. Could he be watching? Could he be here? She texted Vihan again. There is a man. Gray coat. Something feels wrong. Asterisk asterisk. Seconds passed. No reply. The bus rolled forward. Street lights flickered past like dying stars. The man shifted in his seat, tilted his head, as if listening for something behind his own eyes. Rhea clutched her bag. The prescription still inside. Still the reason she left home this morning. Everything had changed since then. She closed her eyes, tried to breathe. Soft vibration. Her phone. Get off at the next stop. Do not run. Do not look back. Asterisk asterisk. She stood too fast. The man in the gray coat turned his head. His eyes met hers. Blank. Me. But aware. She forced her legs to move. The bus hissed to a stop. The doors opened. She stepped out. The night hit her like a wave, cold and thick. Her footsteps echoed on the pavement. She did not run. She did not turn. Behind her the bus pulled away. She waited. Waited for the sound of another step. Breath. Nothing. Silence. A whisper. Right behind her ear. I remember you. Her blood froze. She spun around. No one. Just the dark sidewalk. Me. Will. But the words still rang in her skull. I remember you. They were not just spoken. They felt known. Personal. Will. She backed away slowly, eyes darting to every shadow, every alley, every movement behind glass. The streetlights above flickered once, then again, then died. Darkness swallowed the road. Her breath quickened. She reached for her phone. No signal. No light. Nothing. Just the sound of wind curling through the narrow street. And then, shape. Emerging from the dark like it had always been part of it. Will. Wearing a mask. Not a disguise. Symbol. Black. Porcelain. Crack. Only the eyes visible beneath. Watching her. Measuring. Her voice broke when she tried to speak. What do you want? The figure tilted its head. I told them to keep you hidden. Its voice was like gravel under ice. You were never supposed to wake up. Rhea stumbled back. Wake up. The figure stepped forward. You do not remember yet. But you will. Lightning split the sky behind it. For an instant everything lit up. Mask. Eyes. And something glinting in its hand. A ring. Silver. Twisted with an ancient symbol. And in that brief flash, she saw it on her own finger. The same ring. The same mark. Her knees gave out. Memories. Flashes. Fire. A voice screaming her name. But not Rhea. Different name. Older. And the figure stepped closer. Voice like a blade drawn slow. You are not who you think you are. The world seemed to tilt. The ground beneath her feet felt too far away, as though the street itself had stretched impossibly long. Her heart raced in her chest, the pounding like thunder that drowned everything else. I don't understand, Rhea whispered, barely able to breathe. The figure took another slow step forward, its eyes narrowing beneath the mask, calculating, predatory. You will, it said, the words dropping like stones into her mind. You were never meant to forget. Rhea felt her knees weaken, her hands shaking uncontrollably as she grabbed the nearest lamppost for support. She searched for a way out, but the street felt like a maze. The figure was closing in, its presence heavy, suffocating. You've been hidden too long, Rhea, the figure continued, voice as cold as the night air. They made sure you wouldn't remember. But you'll remember soon enough. Who are you? she gasped, her voice trembling. What do you want from me? The figure stepped closer, its shadow now looming over her. There was a faint glint of something sharp in its hand. Everything, it replied simply, as if the answer was obvious. Rhea's head spun. Her body screamed for escape, but her feet were rooted to the ground, as if the very earth was pulling her into the depths. The figure's hand raised, the silver ring catching the last of the flickering streetlight. It was familiar. Too familiar. Do you remember it now? The figure asked, voice soft but laced with something darker. The mark. The power. A surge of heat shot through Rhea's chest, like a spark igniting a flame that had long been dormant. She gasped, her body stiffening. Memories, fragmented and hazy, began to claw at the edges of her mind. Rivers of fire, an ancient door, voices chanting her name in an unfamiliar tongue. Rhea, the figure repeated, its tone shifting into something that could almost be considered affectionate. You're one of us. You always have been. The street, the darkness, the figure, they all blurred as the memories broke free. She remembered the ring, the blood, the ancient ceremony. She remembered the name she had been born with. Asterisk, not Rhea asterisk, but something else. Something older. She staggered back, shaking her head in disbelief. No, this isn't real. But even as she said it, she knew the truth was creeping up on her, like a shadow that could no longer be outrun. The figure smiled, and it was a smile that wasn't meant for comfort. You've always been one of us, Rhea. You've just forgotten. But now it's time to remember. Rhea's breath came in shallow gasps, her mind racing to make sense of what was happening. The figure before her seemed to loom larger with each passing second, its presence pressing against her like a physical weight. You're lying, she said, more to herself than to the figure. I don't know you. I'm just a girl trying to save her mother. The figure tilted its head, as if considering her words. For a moment, the tension in the air thickened, and then with a sudden fluid motion, it reached out and gently, almost tenderly, touched the ring on her finger. The warmth from the ring burned through her skin, sending a pulse of energy that rattled her bones. She gasped, recoiling instinctively. No, she whispered, but the word felt weak, hollow. The figure's smile deepened. The truth is in your blood. You are bound to it, Rhea. And there is no running from it. Her hands shook uncontrollably, and the ring, the silver ring with that twisted ancient symbol, seemed to burn into her, almost as if it was trying to wake her up. She could feel it now. Something deep within her stirring, like a dormant power finally being coaxed awake. What is this? She gasped, struggling to keep herself upright as her legs threatened to buckle beneath her. Your true self, the figure said, voice rich with the promise of something far more dangerous than she could understand. You were born into this, Rhea. Born into them, the ones who shaped this world from the shadows. The ground beneath her feet felt unsteady, and the air around her felt charged, as if the world itself was waiting for her to remember. Every word the figure spoke seemed to resonate deep within her, shaking loose pieces of a life she didn't know she had. You, she swallowed hard, trying to steady herself. You're saying I've been chosen for something? What do you want from me? The figure stepped closer, its mask unreadable, yet somehow she could feel the weight of its gaze. Chosen? Well, you were never chosen, Rhea. You were born into it. This is your legacy. You are the heir to something bigger. Rhea's pulse thundered in her ears, her mind struggling to keep up with the flood of revelations crashing into her. Her life, the one she had fought for, her mother, her home, her simple existence, wasn't what it seemed. Asterisk, bigger asterisk, she repeated, voice shaky. The figure nodded once, a small, dangerous gesture. The bloodline you come from. It is older than this city, older than time itself. You are the last of it, the last of us. The words felt like they were slipping through her mind like grains of sand. Impossible to catch, impossible to understand. But I don't remember any of it, she cried, her voice rising in desperation. I don't even know who I am. A flash of something, almost pity, crossed the figure's face. That is the curse. to forget what you were, what you are. But it will come back. In time. And when it does, you will understand why I can't let you walk away. None of us can. Her heart skipped. What do you mean? None of us can. The figure's smile faded, replaced with a cold, calculating expression. Your awakening is more than a memory, Rhea. It's a signal. And now they will come for you. Who? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, though her heart already knew the answer. The figure stepped back slightly, turning its gaze toward the horizon as if watching something far off. The ones who kept you hidden. Rhea's breath caught in her throat. They will come for you. To finish what they started. And suddenly she understood. Everything she had thought was simple, every moment of her life until now was not. She wasn't just a girl trying to save her mother. She was something else. Something older. Her bloodline, whatever it was a mark of power. A power that had been hidden away, buried deep beneath the layers of her memory. And now, with the truth creeping into her mind, the past was rising to meet her. With a final glance, the figure turned its back on her. Remember, Rhea. Soon they will find you. And when they do, you'll have to decide what you're going to become. Rhea stood frozen, the weight of its words crashing over her. The ring on her finger pulsed again, brighter this time. And deep in the distance, something stirred. Something ancient. And it was coming for her. Rhea stood there, still as stone, the night wrapping around her like a suffocating cloak. The air felt heavier now. The streets felt emptier. As if the city itself had sensed the shift. She could hear her heart pounding in her chest, the sound loud and insistent, drowning out everything else. The figure had already vanished into the shadows, leaving nothing but a lingering chill in the air. But the words it had spoken still echoed in her mind. Soon they will find you. And when they do, you'll have to decide what you're going to become. What was she supposed to become? She was still Rhea. Still the girl who worked to pay for her mother's medicine. Still the girl who had no place in the world but the one she had carved out of desperation. Wasn't she? The ring on her finger burned against her skin, pulling her out of her thoughts. She glanced at it, her fingers tracing the silver edges, the twisted symbol that had begun to feel more like a part of her than a foreign object. She felt changed. The weight of something greater was pressing down on her, and it wasn't just the ring. It was the knowledge that someone was watching, waiting. She turned, her gaze flicking to every corner, every shadow. The city felt alive, but in a way that terrified her. Suddenly, a car's headlights flashed across the street, and Rhea froze, holding her breath. The car slowed, pulling up beside her. Passenger window rolled down. She didn't recognize the driver, but there was something in his eyes. A look of recognition. A cold smile tugged at his lips. "You've been waiting for me, haven't you?" he said. His voice smooth, almost too calm. Rhea took a step back. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer right away. He just studied her, as though she were a puzzle he was eager to solve. "I think you know exactly who I am," he said. "I'm the one who's been sent to make sure you don't remember." Too much. Her stomach dropped. The same feeling, the same cold, bone-deep feeling, had crept into her again, the sense that this was all unfolding far beyond her control. Like she was a piece on a board, moved by someone else's hand. She took a step away from the car, her instincts screaming at her to run, to get as far away from him as possible. But the man smiled again, a knowing smile. It was unsettling, like he could read her thoughts. "You don't want to do that," he said, voice calm but with a dark edge. "You won't get far. Not with them looking for you." "Who?" Her voice cracked. He leaned closer, his eyes locking onto hers. "The ones who want you back. The ones who want the power you don't even realize you have yet." She couldn't breathe. The world seemed to spin around her, faster now. "You'll understand soon enough, Rhea," the man said, his tone almost kind. "But until then, run if you want. But remember, every step you take, they'll be one step behind." He slammed the car door shut, the sound echoing in the silence of the night. The engine roared to life, and before she could even think to move, the car sped off, disappearing into the dark. Rhea stood there, feeling the weight of his words pressing into her chest. She wanted to scream, to demand answers, but the words were lost, buried in the thick fog of fear and confusion that was swallowing her whole. The city seemed to stretch around her, a vast maze she couldn't navigate, and she was trapped at its center, with no idea who she was running from, or who she was running toward. The only thing she knew for certain now: they were coming, and she couldn't hide forever. The question was, would she ever be ready for what came next? Rhea's feet moved without her thinking, carrying her down the street with a force she couldn't control. Her thoughts spun, racing through the darkness, trying to piece together the fragments of her life that now felt shattered and foreign. Who was she? Who were they? Her mother's face flashed in her mind, and the thought of her lying in a hospital bed, weak and helpless, gave her a moment of clarity. She needed to get back to her. She needed to make sure her mother was safe. But the weight of the ring on her finger reminded her that there was no escape from this. No turning back. The world had shifted, and she was at the center of something much larger than herself. And she wasn't sure she could survive it. Her pulse quickened as she glanced over her shoulder, half expecting the man in the car to be following her. But there was nothing, just the empty street behind her. Still, the feeling of being watched lingered, like a shadow she couldn't shake. She rounded a corner and nearly bumped into someone. Man. He was tall, with a face that seemed both familiar and strange at the same time. His eyes, however, those eyes were unmistakable. Vahan. Her breath caught in her throat. Rhea, he said softly, his voice full of something she couldn't quite place. You're running. I have to go, she stammered, her hands trembling as she instinctively took a step back. No, he said, stepping closer. You don't have to go anywhere. Not until you're ready. Rhea's mind spun. Asterisk ready. Ready for what? Asterisk. Vihan they. She stopped herself, realizing that her words had no place in this conversation. She didn't know what she was even asking. Rhea, listen to me, he said, his voice firm, but with an edge of urgency. You're in danger. But it's not just from them. He paused, his gaze flicking down to her ring. You're in danger from yourself. Her heart stuttered in her chest. What are you talking about? Vihan took a slow breath, his gaze softening for the briefest moment, as if weighing something heavy in his mind. You haven't fully awoken yet. There's still more to you, more to your power that you don't understand. And until you do, until you can control it, you will be hunted. They won't stop until they have you. Rhea shook her head, feeling the weight of her confusion crash over her. I don't understand. What am I supposed to do? You don't have to do anything. But we need to get you somewhere safe. Somewhere where you can learn to control it, before they get to you first. She wanted to run, to escape, to say that she didn't need any of this, but the truth settled in her chest like a stone. She wasn't the same girl anymore. Something had shifted inside of her. Something dangerous, something powerful, and now the world was turning upside down. Vihan looked at her for a long moment. His expression was unreadable, but there was a flicker of something. Regret? Worry? Then, as though making up his mind, he turned and gestured for her to follow him. Come with me. I'll explain everything. But we need to move. Now. She hesitated for a second, but deep down, she knew there was no other choice. She nodded, and followed. Through the dark streets. Through the maze of the unknown. They were coming. And she had to face it, whatever it was. Whatever she was. The question was no longer whether she could run. It was whether she could survive long enough to remember everything she had forgotten. Rhea moved through the darkened streets, her heart pounding as she followed Vihan. The world felt like it was closing in around her, but the flicker of something, hope, kept her going. She had no choice. There was no turning back now. The city, once so familiar, now seemed like a maze of hidden dangers. The echo of her footsteps seemed louder, more urgent, as if every moment counted. Vihan's figure was always just a step ahead, steady, guiding her toward something she didn't yet understand but felt like she was meant to reach. They arrived at a small, unmarked building at the edge of the city. It was quiet, tucked away in an alley, far from the chaos that had been building around her. Vihan opened the door without hesitation, and they stepped inside. The air here was thick with the scent of old wood and incense, the kind of atmosphere that felt both ancient and protective. Inside, there was a warmth that felt like a refuge, but it also carried the weight of secrets. Vihan motioned for her to sit. She did, her mind still reeling from everything that had happened. She didn't even know what to ask, how to make sense of the shattered pieces of her life. He sat across from her, his gaze steady and calm. "You're safe for now," he said softly. "But this is just the beginning. You've always been part of something bigger, Rhea. The bloodline, the legacy, it's not just a story. It's a truth that's been hidden for generations." Rhea's fingers absently traced the ring on her finger, still burning with that strange energy. The weight of it was like a constant reminder that nothing in her life would ever be the same. "What do I do now?" she asked, the question barely a whisper. Vihan leaned forward, his voice low. "Now you learn. You train. You remember." Rhea's mind spun. "Remember? What? Who I am?" He nodded. "Yes, but more than that. You'll learn to control your power, to wield it. That's the only way you can protect yourself. And when the time comes, you will have to choose. Whether you become what they want you to be, or whether you decide to forge your own path." She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words sink into her bones. "The power that runs through your blood. It's more than just a gift. It's a weapon," he continued. "But it's also a burden. And the ones who've been watching you, they want to control it. They want to use you. But you can fight back. You can choose who you become." Rhea closed her eyes, trying to process the enormity of what she was being told. Felt like too much. Too fast. But deep down she knew he was right. She couldn't run anymore. She couldn't hide from whatever had been buried inside her for so long. The door creaked open behind them, and a soft voice broke the silence. "She's ready." Rhea's head snapped around, her pulse quickening. A woman stood in the doorway, her dark eyes piercing through the dim light. She was older, her face marked with lines of experience, but there was something in her presence that was undeniably commanding. Vihan stood as she entered, a small nod exchanged between them. "This is Ilara," he said. "She's the one who will help you unlock what you've forgotten. She's been through it herself." Ilara smiled faintly, her gaze settling on Rhea. "It's time," she said simply. Rhea felt a flicker of fear, but it was quickly replaced by something else. Something stronger. A sense of purpose, of being on the edge of discovering who she was meant to be. She stood up, her heart still racing, but a new determination filling her chest. "I'm ready," she said, her voice steady despite the uncertainty that lingered in her mind. Ilara nodded, a small, approving smile curving her lips. "Then let's begin." As she followed Ilara deeper into the building, Rhea realized something. This wasn't the end of her journey. It was just the beginning. The shadows that had been chasing her would never fully go away. But now, for the first time, she felt like she could face them. She wasn't just Rhea anymore. She was something else, something more. And when the time came, she would remember everything. And she would choose her own path. The door closed softly behind her. And the world outside waited.